Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Dear listeners, welcome once again to Radio Ramadan. I hope everybody is having a blessed Monday. For many of us, it will be the first day back at work, fasting and working. MashaAllah, we had a easy entrance into Ramadan for many of us with the weekend, allowed us to sleep in a little bit and have a bit of a rest to get into the routine. So today may be a little bit harder. It certainly is for myself with the early start. For those of you who may not know, who don't know me, who don't know about the organization, my name is Hafiz Mushtaq. I am from an organization called Spinneyhill, Drugs, Alcohol and Addiction Support. So it kind of says we do what it says on the tin, really, which is that we support people from our communities that have unfortunately developed an addiction. The addiction could be to drugs, the addiction could be to drink, it could be to gambling, it could be to gaming, it could be to pornography. We are a charity, we are community based. It's confidential and it's free at the point of delivery, and it's mainly run by volunteers. What we aim to do at Spinneyhill is we have a long tradition within Islam of looking at social issues. We can date back to the 13th century. There was a scholar by the name of Ibn Jawzi, rahimahumullah, who first talked about addiction and addiction to behaviors. So what we try to do at Spinneyhill is to take the best of developments in modern science. So developments in counseling, developments in therapy, developments in medication, and then combine that with the best of what our own tradition offers. So then to provide a holistic approach into recovery, into rehabilitation. For those of you who may know about the organization, we've been running since about 2015. We started off just operating from a small room in somebody's office. We then had a smaller center on Evington Road, and about a year ago we moved into our own well-being center, which is on Chesterfield Road. We're next to the furniture shop opposite Pack Foods. In the last year alone, alhamdulillah, through Allah's fazl, through the support and donations of many people in the community, we have managed to help over 82 people, individuals, that's men and women, and unfortunately children, into recovery. So that's people who are grappling with addiction, Class A drugs, alcohol, Class B, and other types of addiction. So 82 people, alhamdulillah, we've supported into recovery to make a change in their lives. That's 82 lives that have been improved, and 82 families whose outcomes and lives have been improved. We have a gym because we focus on the mind, the body and the soul. We believe that a healthy body is essential in order to aid recovery. So we've had over 300 people attend the gym sessions. These are tailored one-to-one sessions. We also have 2 trained counselors. We've had over 59 people who've received counseling. We have multi-faith groups, so Sikhs, Muslims, Hindus, people of no faith also attend these groups. We have Quran classes, we have zikr classes, and we have recreational evenings, and much, much more that we offer, which is part of the package that we believe is needed in order to make a person achieve their aim, which is recovery. So I can talk all day really about the work that we do. I can reel off stats, I can give you information and data, but I think what we will probably be best to illustrate our work excuse me, is if we can listen today to one of our service users who's been on a journey of addiction, who's tried recovery in many places, in many ways, and he's now open to Spinneyhill. So we're very fortunate today that we're joined by Imjaz, obviously for obvious reasons. We are going to honor his anonymity. He won't be on the camera. And so I'd just like to welcome Imtiaz to the show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Imtiaz. How are you?
I'm alright.
Alhamdulillah. So firstly, I just want to say, Imtiaz, I know this is never easy. And I know what you've said to me before is that by sharing your story, even if it helps one person, that would be something that's going to be, worthwhile. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
So, Imtiaz, if I can start just by asking you your age, if that's not too personal.
I'm 48.
48 years old, mashallah. Okay, and you live in Leicester, but
Yep.
you're originally from up north?
Blackburn, yep.
Blackburn, okay. And I know that you have been an addict. So how many years would you say that you were in active addiction?
30 years.
Wow. So 30 years you
Yep.
were using drugs
Yep.
and alcohol, or just drugs?
No, just crack and heroin.
You say just crack and heroin,
Yeah,
like it's a
nothing else
small...
in it, no weed, nothing like that.
Nothing. So you just went straight onto the hard
Yeah,
stuff.
straight onto the hard
wow.
stuff.
Okay. So, what I think would be useful if we can hear a little bit about your journey, what age, how it happened, but also I think it'd be informative for parents to hear about the different types of drugs that are out there, and obviously as parents, with teenage children, who are listening, we'll all be concerned about what's going on out there. Sometimes we're a bit naive into thinking we know. So it'll be informative for the parents. I think that will be helpful. And then, maybe you can later on tell us a little bit about where you are now and in terms of your recovery and who's helped you and how it's helped you.
Yeah.
So if we start then, so you were growing up in Blackburn.
Yep. Growing up in Blackburn, about 17, 18 years old.
Until 17, 18, any kind of vices?
Yeah, I've started experimenting with cannabis, weed. I've started experimenting with that at the age of 17, but it's not problematic.
Okay. And
It's
before 17?
Nothing, no.
Damal,
nothing,
any
just
trouble
no.
in masjids, madrasas?
Yeah, just the normal damal, but not anything with the police or anything.
Nothing
no,
major.
nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Okay. And you grew up, both your parents?
Yeah, everything all happy.
Yeah, all happy?
Yeah.
Food on the table?
Yeah, food on the table.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
So yeah, I was 17, and then we discovered heroin.
I mean, you say quite lightly that we discovered heroin. It's not like discovering, this is the first time I tried a,
I
bottle
went
of
to
pop.
watch a movie.
Okay, so had you thought about it before?
No.
Nothing,
No.
not even occurred to you?
No.
You just tried a little bit of weed,
Yeah,
and then you went to watch a movie.
Yeah, Trainspotting.
Trainspotting. Okay, I remember that film, 97 or 96.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kept on.
you and McGregor, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
that's the one.
Yeah, okay. So you went to watch a movie, just, like a lot of teenagers do, and then you came out taking heroin. Was that
We came out,
Yeah.
and about 10 of us were there, and we thought, come on, let's go and get some heroin.
Because they're just the way they'd glamorized
The way they
it.
glamorized that drug in there, it was something.
Wow.
Yeah, the way they did it. For me, at the age of 17 years old, I couldn't process all that information.
No.
So I thought, yeah.
What do you? I'm sure you probably don't remember. It'd be interesting to know what the rating was in terms of that film, like age rating, whether there was an age restriction or not. Because it seems, if this open drug use, maybe it should have been an 18, but they
Yeah, it's
still
open drug use.
Yeah, and they allowed you in.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were mesmerized. Would that be a good
Yeah.
word? Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
thought, we need to try this.
Yep.
Were you aware what the consequences could be?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I just thought it's a high, just like weed.
Yeah.
A bit more intense, probably.
What year was this? About 1997?
96.
96, yeah.
95, 96.
Yeah. ACOM 96, 94. I remember that, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I was at university. And then, how easy was it to find the drugs or get hold of the drugs?
From where we were in Blackburn, it was very easy. But
Even back then?
even back then, yeah. And where I went to get it, there was an older guy there that knew our dads. So we had to quickly run off from there. Get
Okay.
away. And it's like we waited for the guy to leave, half an hour, and
Yeah.
then we went back again.
Okay, because what was he buying or?
He's the main plug.
Okay.
He's the main Coachio.
Okay, and he was a friend of your dad's?
Well, yeah, type of thing.
He knew your dad?
He
so
knew
you
my
had to-
dad, so there was no way it was happening.
Yeah,
So then we just waited for him to go.
okay,
Waited half an hour, and
Yeah.
we went back,
okay.
and that's it.
And how much do you remember? How much it roughly cost you then?
20 quid.
20 quid.
2 10-pound bags.
Right. And this was all 10 of you?
No, there was 10 of us, but by now there's only 6 of us.
Okay, so 4 were a bit more sensible.
4 have gone somewhere.
Okay.
On that day,
Yeah.
sensible on that day.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, they all followed. Everyone
Oh,
followed. Yeah.
Wow.
Everyone followed.
Okay. And did you think that time that you would try the drug, it would just get hold of you?
Never.
Never. What did you think would happen?
Just like weed, you just have, you feel a bit alright, and that's it, normal.
Yeah.
The first time I started withdrawing from heroin,
What happened after that first time? Just explain how you felt.
we puked up.
Okay, so it wasn't nice.
And it wasn't nice at all. Then I didn't do it for a good 2 weeks.
Okay.
So now everything else is getting boring now again. You know, you're 17, you're growing up, you see
Yeah.
the world. So
Yeah.
every day
You're looking
things
for
are
excitement.
yeah. So
And I think that's true for most young people
Most
growing
people.
up. Yeah.
so then I tried it again, and this time round we felt the buzz.
Why did you go back then, even though the first time wasn't good?
I think just boredom.
Okay.
Coming from the north,
Yeah.
there was nothing happening
Yeah.
them days.
That's an interesting point because obviously at the moment, in recent times, we've seen, a lot of youth clubs closing down, a lot of public places, parks, people are building houses. There's less and less for recreational activities for young people to do. And there is boredom. And now with mobile phones, people can see that there's a world out there. And so even back then, there wasn't much to do. And so boredom was a factor that led you to experiment. And I just see how that resonates with the current day world that we're the kids are growing up in. So, okay, and then?
And then we just started using every other day, and then we started using every day. So before you know it, I was addicted.
Wow.
Like when
How quickly would you say you went from trying it the second time to then thinking I'm an addict?
about 2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks?
Within 2 weeks, and that's because in them 2 weeks I used for about 6 days, then I didn't use for 1 day. So on that 1 day, I'm rattling.
Okay.
I'm withdrawing.
Just explain what rattling means to some of our listeners.
You're puking up, you're sweating, your legs are hurting. It's like the
Yeah.
worst pain. But
Yeah.
because you don't know what a cold turkey is, you're
Okay.
not recognizing it.
So did you know anybody else
No.
older than you? So
No.
you were just going through
was
this
just
on
us.
your own.
This
Wow.
was us setting the trend. Custom.
Wow. And you were just going through this blind almost with no one to go to for
What?
advice. What was going on?
There was
Weren't
no-
you scared? Were you worried?
No, because we didn't know that it was the drug that we're trying is like the drug that you don't try.
Okay.
We didn't know this. We
Okay.
just didn't know this. We just thought that our sale would be like weed.
Okay.
Or worse comes worse, drink.
Yeah, so there was no information about drugs.
Nothing.
Yeah, just want to mention one of the things that we do at Spinneyhill, apart from the things I mentioned earlier, is educational work, and we're going into schools. We've been in Beecham. We're going into some of the madrasas, and a lot of the local schools where we've got a majority Muslim population are inviting in state schools, not necessarily Islamic schools, or as well as Islamic schools. And they are all recognizing that how much of this is an issue, and they're all recognizing that they need more information. Children need more information. So we're going in, and the workshops that we've delivered have been very well received. So we hope that some of the things that Imtiaz went through and other people are going through, we hope that the next generation, they'll be equipped with the knowledge so that they don't make those same mistakes, or they don't go into it through ignorance, which is kind of what happened with you. So you're rattling the first, and you just felt that you had to go back and get more.
No, it was just because I didn't know that this was a rattle, this was a cold turkey, this is my body asking for the heroin. I just left it.
Right.
But it's only when I took it the next day
Right.
and I felt all normal, that's when we realized the way on, that's what they call the rattle.
Okay.
That's what that is.
Okay.
But because he was young, he wasn't registering. He
No,
wasn't registering.
So you said it was what, £10 a bag?
Yeah.
And how long would the high last?
Because you're new, 2-3 hours.
Okay, so quite a long time.
Yeah, that's because you're fresh.
Okay, and then what happens over time? Do you become desensitized?
Yeah, desensitized. A £10 bag will last you about an hour.
Okay. So where were you finding the money for this?
That's another story.
This is why we're here. This is why we're here, to listen to this
By then, we discovered check guarantee cards.
Okay, so you went into a life of crime without talking about the
Yes.
specific
Yeah,
crimes.
yeah.
In order to fund the addiction,
Yep.
then you went down a life of crime.
Yep.
Okay. So you're 17, you go and watch a movie, and then you've come out as an addict and as a criminal
Yeah, within 6 months.
within 6 months. That is just incredible. Wow.
I'm in the nitty gritty.
Wow. And
That's-
were your family aware of this at this stage?
No.
You were managing
I
to.
was hiding it, yeah.
Were you at school or college or?
I was at college.
Okay.
I was doing construction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you manage to?
No.
You couldn't stay on the course.
No.
No. What age did you leave? What time frame are we talking?
Couple of years within starting. So the
Yeah.
first year you failed, so you do it again.
Yeah.
And the second year, that's when I started my addiction. So
Mm.
everything just went down. Everything just went down the hill.
Okay. So this started at 17,
Yeah.
and you were an addict, and I mean it's already very intense.
Yeah.
You know, you're rattling if you don't take it.
Yes.
You're spending. You're having it. Was it almost daily?
What? £10?
No, the drugs. Were you taking?
Oh
it
yeah,
every-
yeah. You have to take it daily.
You have to take
You
it
need
daily.
it daily. Yeah.
Okay, so you're taking it daily, and you've started a criminal career.
Yes.
And then you said to me at the beginning that you were in this world for 30 years.
For 30
so
years.
if you were there at the beginning,
Yeah.
how bad did it get throughout those 30
Oh,
years?
he went worse. He went bad. He went bad where I was. Sometimes I used to go away from the family home for weeks and weeks
Okay,
and not come back. There'll be some phases of my life where I've got no money and I've got to do really, really mad things to get money.
right.
You know, I've gone through phases of life. So
What kind of mad things?
robberies,
Wow.
shotting. You know, like selling.
Yeah, shotting is colloquial for selling drugs on the
Yes.
streets. Yeah, so you would do anything to fund the
Anything,
thing.
anything,
Yeah, and did it have impact on your health?
massively.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
I lost weight. I couldn't go in front of people. My mental health went down. You know, I couldn't present myself in front of people because of the way I looked. I could see in a mirror that Imtiaz, this is not what you like. I don't like what I see.
Mm. I mean, mashallah, you're quite strong now. You know, you look like you work out. I'm assuming you weren't always like that.
No,
No.
no. My change came a couple of years ago. I've been clean now 2 years.
Okay, we'll talk about that shortly. So, you know, you've gone, like I said, you know, ACOM 96, Train Spotting, Life of Crime, and then did you travel for
Yeah, I did.
for criminal activities?
Yeah, I did a lot of that stuff.
Okay,
I
where
did,
were you?
I was going Africa. I went Mexico I went a few places, but
Yeah.
Africa was the station.
Right.
So I had to do that to fund my habit.
So all of this exuberant kind of lifestyle,
Because of that one movie.
yeah, and just because in order to fund the habit,
Yeah.
were you happy at that time?
No.
So no.
No, the good thing about, well, I'm not a good thing, but the positive thing that kept going in me, that even whenever I used to smoke, there was always that intention in me that Imtiaz, Ya Allah, make this the last smoke, bro.
Okay.
I'm done, bro. Make this the last smoke.
Mm,
But with that thing, it never comes.
doesn't come.
You know?
So, did you ever end up in jail?
Yes, I've done a lot of sentences. I've done over
Okay.
20 plus sentences.
So, totaling, how many years would you say of your life was wasted in jail?
20 odd years minimum.
And you said to me you're 30, 48?
I'm 48.
And over 20 years, it's
Yep.
just, you know, a third of your life has
Is
been
in jail.
spent in jail.
Yep.
And what was life like in jail?
When you're young, you go in, everything's new, so you're not really feeling it, everything's not registering. It's only when you get accustomed to the situation where you're at and you start realizing, oh my God, is this where I'm in? I'm in prison, I'm living off slops. And that's when the realization kicks in.
But yet somehow every time you went in, when you were released, you still resorted back to that life of crime.
Yes, because I never had no follow-up. I never had nowhere else that I could join myself to.
Okay.
There were other agencies out there, but
Mm.
I don't think they understood me in such a way. I think it might be because of my cultural needs.
Yeah.
I think.
So it's not like you didn't want to stop.
Oh no, I've
No.
always wanted to stop.
Yeah, you said every time you smoke, you said,
Yep.
make this be my last one.
Yep.
You seem like you're quite connected to your faith as well, even though
Yeah.
were you always like that, even in the middle of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the upbringing. I come from a very, very humble background, very
Uh-huh.
humble upbringing in Blackburn.
What do you mean by humble?
I live in front of the mosque. You know,
Yeah.
I've grown up from the age of 5.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear the azan, you're running out front door, and the other door is just there. Like, I've only got to cross the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm there at the masjid, Bicknell Street.
Yeah, mashallah.
So yeah, that's one good positive thing that stayed with me.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So you've been in jail, you're coming out, you're going back to jail. I'm assuming that money is an issue
Yeah.
because were you earning good money at that time through the illegal means?
Yes, I was, but then even that runs out.
Okay, because you just kept spending it on the lifestyle
Yes.
and the drugs.
Yes.
Was your drug consumption, had it increased by this stage?
Yes.
Because I'm assuming over 30 years you need more and more.
Yeah. Every time I went jail or
Yeah.
I went Africa or somewhere,
Yeah.
the tolerance would go down because I wouldn't be able to use that much
Okay.
because it's hard to get in them places.
Yeah.
So whenever I did get, I used, so my tolerance went down. So when I came out, I
Right.
start small, but
Yeah.
within a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
it's back to.
Okay, so you alluded to the fact that during that period of time, you did try to get help, and
Yeah.
you went to different agencies. Where did you go for? Was it rehab you went to?
Yeah, I've been to.
Was it residential rehab? That where you
Yes.
stay?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've been to a couple of rehabs in India.
okay.
Then I
And
went
you funded that yourself,
Yeah.
right? So,
Um,
was that your own choice? Like, did you
Yes,
decide because you
yes.
wanted to stop?
1,000,000%. Yeah, that was all my own choices.
Because you wanted to stop.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I had a different approach. I used to think that I can go and run away in a rehab, get clean, come back, and everything's going to be normal.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Why not?
What I learned is that somebody like me could only get clean in society. There was no rehab for me. There was no detox for me because I've tried that 15 odd times.
You've been to detox 15 times?
15 odd times
Wow.
altogether.
And it never worked?
Never worked.
And you've been to residential rehab where...
Yes.
So just to, for the benefit of the listeners who may not know, detox is you can go there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And you get medication because obviously for some drugs and alcohol, it's not safe to stop suddenly and go cold turkey. Somebody stops drinking, they can die. So at a detox center, you'll have doctors and nurses, you'll have medication, you're monitored throughout 24 hours to make sure that nobody dies from withdrawal symptoms. And then once the detox is done, then people go for residential rehab where they'll have therapy and counseling, look at trauma and things that may have happened in their past to help them to overcome that addiction. So you said you did that over 15 times.
Yeah, about 15, 16 times.
And what happened? Did it?
I used to fail every single time because my approach was totally wrong. I used to think that I can go somewhere, lock myself up, and then
Yeah.
come out and I'll be cured.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it works.
No.
The only way I got cured is how I told you that 2 years ago.
So after 38 years,
30 years.
of being an addict, and countless numbers of rehabilitation centers and detox centers, what finally helps you to overcome your addiction?
I think the penny dropped that Imtiaz, you're too deep. You're very deep. You're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your family. You're going to lose everybody.
But you must have had those thoughts before, but you kept going back.
I did, but not this severe. My kids were younger then, man. Now my kids are a bit older. They're 14, 15. They
Are they aware of your past?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Fully
they know,
aware.
Yeah, so I find that a positive thing. So we don't
Yeah.
have barriers like that.
Alhamdulillah.
They understand the red flags.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
And how did you know about Spinneyhill?
No.
No.
I went about 2.5 years ago. I got incarcerated for a driving offence, And it was only a few months, and in there I met somebody. So, but this somebody is this Sumaya Ben.
Yeah.
She used to do my heading from 2016.
Okay.
Like him just go spinny.
So Sumaya is from an organization called Turning Point.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was telling you about Spinny, and what did you think at that
I'm
stage?
like, go away, bro. Like, what can happen? What can they do?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they've done more work than what I've done myself.
Yeah.
You know, they can't. There's no way they can do that work on me.
No.
That's what I was thinking. Well, anyway, when I came out 2022, 2023, I thought, let me give Spinny a try.
Just, by the way, you may go into jail and coming out like people going on planes.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Munshi?
I got a friend called
How
Munshi.
can I sugarcoat this?
I got a friend called Munshi. He's like jumps on planes like people jump in cars.
Yeah.
And you're the same with prison. But no, I don't think we want you to sugarcoat it. It's important that we get the raw story for the listeners.
Yeah.
So again, just want to thank you for your openness. It's really. I know it's not easy, but it's really helping, I'm sure, a lot of people who are listening.
Sure.
So tell me about, so you came out the last time.
I came out and I came to Spinney Center. I think I met yourself and Afzal Bhai.
Yeah.
And
So
from then...
Afzal is one of the other person who
Yeah.
works at the center and set up the center.
And Khalil Bhai, our counselor,
Yeah, Khalil Bhai set up, the three of us, set it up.
So that's it. From there, my journey started. And what I realized that with Spinney, it was different. You're not like any other organization out there who just look at you from the outside.
Yeah.
Like you really dwell into the problem.
What was the approach? How did they approach you when you came to the center? And did that make a difference?
Yeah, that made a difference. The way that with full respect, and
Yeah.
it was nice.
Did you feel that you were judged in any way?
No.
No.
Alhamdulillah. No.
And that is one of the things, one of the USPs of the organization, which is the approach that everybody is shown love.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody is judged about their journey. And, you know, I know you've had bad days where you've come in. And just tell us about that, what happened.
I've had a couple of bad days, you know, like if I was in another setting, then a lot of things could have happened, you know. But obviously, when you're in a setting with your own people that understand you, understand your culture, understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because our culture is very different to this Western culture.
Yeah.
You know, it might sound whatever it sounds like, but these are facts. So, yeah, these guys knew exactly how to nurture me, because I've had a couple of bad days, and they took the best approach, and within 10, 15 minutes, I'm back to normal.
What was that approach then? What was that approach? You said they took the best approach. Listening.
Yeah, you guys were listening. You never judged.
Yeah.
You took a step back. You gave the service user time as well to relax. And yeah, brilliant, man.
So at Spinneyhill, we have it's the aim, like I mentioned at the outset, is a holistic approach where we focus on the mind. So you get counselling. I know you speak to Khalil Bhai, who's our in-house counsellor. How's that helped you?
Massive, yeah. He helps me, all throughout the day. If I have any little thoughts, I clear it out with him.
Yeah, and I know he, as well as Western counselling, he uses spirituality and the nafs, and looking at the nafs. How has that helped you to stay away and not relapse?
I think spiritually, I'm much better off than I was 2 years ago.
And would you say that was as a result of the centre?
Yeah, 100%. I think because the starting point for me was spiritual. Everything else I've done before with everyone else.
So this is the USP of Spinneyhill, is that we use spirituality as a vehicle to recovery.
Yeah.
We're not prescriptive in terms of what spirituality means, but whatever it means, we have people from different faith traditions, Sikhs. We'll say use your spirituality from your Gurdwara or your spirituality from the Mandir, wherever it may be. Just had a message, Assalamu alaikum, what a brave brother, mashallah, coming in there and sharing his story. Brother has great communication skills, which is a good asset. It's so sad and shocking how the movie influenced the young kids in the wrong way. Just goes to show how powerful the media can be. Stay strong, brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you, sister from Mobi. Jazakallah. Anything you want to say to them, just?
No, Jazakallah. Thank you, sister, for even acknowledging this, understanding, because I don't think people really understand an addict story. What you see is what you see. So when you see an addict on the street, that's all you're seeing is an addict, but you don't really know there's a massive story behind this guy.
Yeah. I got a friend, Moshin Khalifa. He was saying that if that was one film, imagine now the influence from social media and how much influence that is having on our kids. And if one film can lead you down this road, what could
Yep.
social media, which is in your palm of your hand all day, every day, in front of in front of the parents, and they don't even know what's going on. So yeah, you were saying that the center, Khalil Bai's counseling helped you a lot.
Yes,
In what did
inshallah.
it help you unpick things that had happened in your past?
Yes, because we work with other counsellors. We work with Kanis as well.
Yeah,
We
Sister
work with
Kanis,
other-
yeah.
So, yeah, man, everything's falling in place for me. I
Yeah,
think the
so you access to counselling, and I know that we've got a gym again. We've got a gym within the centre, so that the idea of the mind, the body, and the soul, and you use the gym a lot.
Yes.
And now Spinneyhill are investing in you
Yeah.
to train you to be a personal trainer to then give back. What does that? What's that meant for you?
It's meant a lot for me. I'm actually feeling that someone cares. Someone's got time for you.
Did you not ever feel that before?
Nah. We had to always fend for ourselves. Where we come from, I come from the north.
Yeah.
They're very different for us. I don't know how it was here, but for
Yeah.
us guys, it was the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
But shukr Allah, where I am today, I'm much happier. Like, this is probably the first Ramzan in years that I'm fasting. First Ramzan in years that I'm Tarawih.
Wow.
You know, and it's
That
like
is incredible.
it's a big thing for me.
Wow, mashallah. That is, I think that it says so much that as a result of the work that Spinneyhill have
Yeah.
done, you're sober, you're clean,
Yep.
you're not using. But more than that, you've connected to the faith in a way that for the first time
Yeah.
in how many years would you say?
30.
30 years that you're actually fasting.
I've fasted, obviously,
Yeah.
but them fast don't mean fast. It's black fast, isn't it?
Yeah, and first time you're praying Tarawih as well, mashallah.
Yeah, Nikah, before I used to just leave the house,
Yeah,
park
yeah.
up somewhere, then when it's time to go home, go
Yeah,
home.
yeah,
And
yeah.
at home, they're thinking the bayas come from praying Tarawih.
And how was that? How was your experience yesterday praying Tarawih?
Good, mashallah.
So we have a Tarawih at the centre. It's open to the public, but it's mainly for the service users. Unfortunately, a lot of our service users, they don't feel comfortable going to some of our public places, especially also places of worship, unfortunately, as well. They don't feel comfortable there. They feel that they're judged. People are looking at them. So the centre is a safe space. It's open during the day. People, if they're having a bad day, they can come. But also in Ramzan, we have iftari, we have Tarawih. People come there, and it's a relaxed atmosphere. It's a full Quran. We've got Huffaz, alhamdulillah, but it's more relaxed. And after the Tarawih, people can do a short workout as well.
Yeah.
So mashallah, Allah keep you steadfast, and it's heartening to see the impact that it's had on your health. What about your family life? How is that now?
Oh,
different?
my family life all throughout the years, it's been horrible. It's been
Yeah.
bare ups and downs. If my mum and my missus didn't love me that much, I would have been lost
And she stuck through you.
all the way.
What kind of? You don't have to go into too much detail, but what kind of behaviors would you be saying you would be displaying at home?
Erratic,
Yeah.
violent, not violent in a way where I'm
Just aggressive.
aggressive,
Yeah.
but very aggressive. When
Yeah.
she's getting scared,
Wow.
my mum is getting so scared that they have to call the police.
Yeah. And what about money wise? Were you taking money from
Money
them?
wise, yeah, of course. Whenever I could,
You just take money
Yeah.
whatever they earned,
Yeah, well,
just to
no-
feed your habit.
yeah.
Yeah. Masha. And now,
Now, shukr Allah, everything's complete, everything's good.
at Spinneyhill, we also do a lot of work with the wives and the mothers of our service users, because unfortunately they are often the hidden victims of addiction. And like Imtiaz was very honest about his behaviors, and we can't, I suppose, really hard for us to imagine what it would be like for somebody to behave. People are financially exploited. There's physical aggression. There's trust issues. There's a lifestyle. There's health issues that are coming. People are bringing into the house. So Sister Halima at the centre, Allah reward her. She does a lot of work. Every Tuesdays we have groups for the wives and the mothers, and alhamdulillah, a lot of sisters come. And for the first time, they say that this is the first time where there's a safe space that we can talk about what we are going through. Because of the shame factors, we can't talk to family, we can't talk to other people. Nobody really understands. But here is a place that I can talk and say, this is what's happening, and I can get support and himmat from the other women who have been through something similar. I just want to talk a little bit with the last few minutes is, just for the sake of some of our listeners, obviously, obviously we work in the field. We're a little bit more clued up. But if we weren't, we wouldn't have really known what is out there now. People know about cocaine, like again, unfortunately from the movies. People know about alcohol. What other drugs are there that are prevalent now, would you say?
The main one right now that's with young kids, 15, 16, is the vaping.
Okay.
But it's not even the normal vapes that we're worried about. It's the THC lace vapes. The ones that have got cannabis in them.
Yeah.
I've been about them a lot in my previous time throughout the years, but I don't think none of them are THC. It's all mamba inside.
Okay,
They
so
don't-
just for the benefit of the listeners, what's mamba and what's
Mamba
TH?
is a fish trunk. Is a fish trunk.
What's THC? So it's the
THC is a cannabinoid.
It's a cannabinoid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
So
think
it's
most
weed.
people will know about weed or
Yeah.
cannabis, a spliff or a joint. People may have seen those things
Mamba
in the
is a
movies.
chemical that they used to transport fish.
I've just had another message. Listening to your journey, bro. Keep it up. Well done, mashallah, from Faraz Sattar. Jazakallah, Faraz. Means a lot.
Yeah.
So mamba
is a fish tranquilizer. But they use that when they're transporting fish.
Okay. Have you ever seen that in real life?
Yeah, I've seen that. We used to do it ourselves in Africa. We used to do something in Africa, and we used
Do you want to share that, or is that you prefer
No,
not to?
leave that, it's
That's
too
fine.
much.
Okay, so you're saying that a drug which is used to tranquilize fish,
Yes.
so to transport them from one place to
One
the other,
place to the other.
put them to sleep in effect.
Gee, that's it.
People are now
Consuming
ingesting that,
Yeah.
smoking that,
Yeah.
in order to get a high. Wow.
That's what's around in all prisons. There is no weed there. There's nothing like.
And why mamba rather than weed?
Cheap,
Cheap.
very
Okay.
cheap, pennies
Wow.
to literally get.
And what about the harms of it, the impact of it?
Harms are very bad. Overdose. You get uncontrolled bowels. I've seen guys with bags on in prison. Food bags. Them bags in prison walking around because of mamba.
Wow. And so vaping is quite very prevalent now.
Yep.
Parents often think that it's harmless.
Yeah.
In the past, if somebody took a spliff or a joint or smoked weed, you'd need Rizla paper, you need tobacco, you'd need the actual the drugs. So there's that whole paraphernalia. People could potentially find it if they looked in a room. But if somebody is taking drugs via a vape, parents would have no idea.
No.
And also what you're saying is that unfortunately those who are vaping, thinking they're vaping THC,
It's not.
are actually taking mamba.
You're taking mums.
And mamba is much worse than cannabis.
Yeah.
What other drugs would you say are common?
I think these days a lot of our young children have started drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like a new thing to me. When I say new thing, I mean like 5-10 years thing.
Yeah,
Back
yeah,
in
yeah.
my day,
Yeah.
it wasn't that prevalent. It wasn't.
Yeah.
People never used to drink like this.
Yeah. I mean, somebody who's come from the streets, somebody who you said, you admitted yourself you were selling drugs. How common is it in our community? Because I still do feel that people believe that this is not our problem. It's something that's happening to other people that
Yeah.
happens over there, or, Sikh people drink, or that other community take drugs. It doesn't happen to. Would you say that's correct, or would you say it's a big problem in our community?
It's a massive problem in our community. What
Yeah.
people forget that we're from the minority.
Yeah.
Our funding and everything that we get
Yeah.
is on a minority level.
Yeah.
If you guys can think out the box, you'll see what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
So it is a big problem.
Yeah. In terms of parenting, we see at the centre a lot of the young people that come to us with addiction. Once you scratch the surface, so initially there's a lot of bravado. People come in, I'm the man, and what, because thinking that we've not seen it. Obviously, we've seen 100 people. But once you get in, once they start then slowly opening up, they start working with Khalil, they start working with Sister Khanis, they get the counselling. Then obviously the more senior guys like yourself and other brothers at the centre who are there daily, and they start, they realise actually there's people further up the food chain than I am. And when they start opening up, often what they will say is about things that have happened at home, about the way that the parents have treated them, how the parents, in order to fund the lifestyle that people want. Both parents are going to work, children are coming back, latchkey kids. There's not a parent at home; they have to fend for themselves. They have to go to madrasa on their own. And then even when parents are at home, the prevalence of mobile phones. So, the young people have often told us we'll be sitting in a room, dad's on his phone, mum's on her phone, somebody's on an iPad, and nobody's communicating. They want to talk about what's going on,
Yep.
about something that's happened, but there's nobody there who's interested, or they don't show that there's interest. And these are good families, well-to-do families, wealthy families. Would you say that that's something that you've seen?
Yes, definitely. Everyone's just too busy with the whole this dunya thing. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it myself.
No, and that is then leading to people to start a
Yes.
life of experiment, because then they find comfort. What we're finding is that people then find comfort and solace in friends because they don't get anything from their homes. And if they unfortunately may mix with friends who then, some of them want to start experimenting with drugs, and if they've got these traumas at home, that experimenting then can lead to using drugs as a means of self-medication, and that's what we're seeing more and more. And so I think from what Imtiaz is saying, and definitely from what we're seeing at the center, if this continues, if parents don't get a grip on their parenting skills and their parenting styles, we're going to create a generation of people who are addicted to substances, who then in turn will create more, who will have children who they won't be able to parent. And within a very short generation, our community will be decimated, like they've
Look
done.
around now. Look how it is now.
Yeah.
I know we're going for the best right now, but if you look around, you'll see what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Forget what's going to happen in 2 years.
Yeah. And often, this world, this underworld of addiction and drugs is something that's beneath the surface. We might not see it walking around, but just underneath, from the streets that we walk, there's people that are in this world, in this life, looking for help. And that's why, the work of Spinneyhill is so important. Like all charities that I'm sure you'll be hearing about throughout this month, everybody needs support, financial support, but also encouragement, also in terms of expertise. We'll be asked again and again throughout the month for some amazing causes, amazing that people will need money for, support for people who are orphans, madrasas, darul ulooms, all of these things which are invaluable work that members of our community are doing. But it's just to bear in mind that this is also something, we are now at a stage where we can't ignore what is happening to our children, what is happening to our future generations, and we can't ignore how lives are being destroyed, and that we have to do something to stop this and to try and break this cycle. Alhamdulillah, I'd like to think that from listening to Imtiaz's testimony, that will illustrate the work that Spinneyhill are doing, how valuable it is, how important it is, how people fall into drug addiction, and it's not anybody's fault. Sometimes it's people feel that, well, somebody's an addict because that's the choice they made. It may be, but often we see that it's not. It's because they're using those drugs. That's why, Gabor Mate says that don't say to somebody that you're an alcoholic. Ask them what is the pain that you're using alcohol to medicate.
No one wakes up in the morning that, I'm going to make a rational decision today. I'm going to become an addict.
No.
No one
does that. Nobody does that. Nobody grows up, like him just said, thinking one day I'm going to be an addict.
Come on.
So, we got, as we come to a close, I just want to thank him, Chaz, for his time and his honesty, his bravery. Allah keep him steadfast. Use him as a means to help many, many people to change. And if there is anybody out there that's listening, any parent that's worried, please, please, please don't suffer in silence. Spinneyhill is here. You can go on our website, www.spinneyhill.org.uk. You can go on any of our social media handles. We're on Instagram at spinneyhill.org. Also on Twitter, we have a YouTube page. Go on our website. All our details are there. You can ring us. You can email us, and you can get support, whether it's just some advice over the phone or whether you want to arrange to speak to somebody. or you can bring your young person or loved one or yourself in. Jazakallah for listening. Have a blessed day, and inshallah, I'll see you again next week at the same time.